It all started with my mother's death on December 31st, 2006, at 6:30. I've had breathing problems twice already as a result of my diabetes. My health had never been a problem before. Prior to this, I had wonderful health. I had never ever caught the flu. These were trying times. I had bronchitis for the entire year. I had this for 3 weeks after my mother's funeral. I recovered physically, but was in a lot of pain on the inside. I couldn't accept her death, and although I grew well physically and had never believed in the paranormal, now that she was gone, I started hearing things, feeling her presence, and even smelling her. At first, everyone assumed I was hallucinating. However, there were numerous situations when third persons noticed that I was not lying. My friends, relatives, and even my own brother saw the evidence and began to trust me. All of this happened over a period of months, and I became so distracted that I started eating my meals while strolling down the street. In addition to my anguish, it was unavoidable that my body would suffer, and I became ill. It started with a temperature that spread through half my body and up to my brain, followed by stomach problems and excruciating headaches. However, I assumed it was just the heat, as it is really hot and dehydrating here. It's referred to as a heat stroke. To reduce my fever, I started using saline solution in baths. My fever would leave me for a few minutes, then return. I felt like this for 4 days. My face in the mirror reflected back at me, ugly and pale, as if it were turning into a skull. I would sweep, scared myself, and I had lost my appetite and felt weak going to work at the time. I kept going until one morning when I awoke pale and unable to continue. I requested assistance and was escorted to a doctor, where I was diagnosed with hepatitis A, contracted by eating in the street, unhygienic food, etc. Because I had neglected myself for 2 months and fallen ill, I was treated with medications that cleared up the infection, but I was in excruciating pain because my liver and kidneys were impacted and infected. My liver was inflamed, and my kidneys were infected. I was incapacitated for 2 months. To avoid liver and kidney damage, full recovery requires 6 months on a low-fat diet. It was a really restrictive diet, and you can understand how it affected me. I shed 8 to 10 kilograms in 3 days and got extremely slim. I'm telling this to you so you can understand my tale and how things were at the time. I lost my will to life. I fantasized about dying and wished for it. Everything I did hurt me. I couldn't eat anything and felt even worse. This is a torment I would not want on anyone. I would not be here providing my account if it weren't for my sister, who never left my side. She did everything she could to help me recuperate and start eating again. But by then, it had been a week and I had lost even more weight and was having difficulties drinking. So I went for nearly 15 days without eating anything. My sister has paranormal encounters as well. She had a dream about our mama, who had promised her that she would always be with her, care for me until I recovered, and that she would cure me. Everyone could tell that I was deteriorating, and optimism seemed pointless. I was the only one of 5 brothers and sisters who was physically and emotionally affected. The others were impacted, but I was the one who suffered the most. I spent the entire week indoors in the house that used to be our mother's, and now just my brother and I inhabit. I didn't want him to feel alone, and I couldn't drive because the pain in my kidneys had rendered me bedridden. On these days, I felt a peculiar feeling in my feet, which could have been caused by the fevers that came and went in my body. I slept without wanting to, because I was afraid I wouldn't wake up. That was the case that night. I was about to fall asleep when I noticed that I was being observed through the window. I'm not sure what it was, but I fell asleep right away. Time passed, and I found myself in a wonderfully quiet, airy, and comfortable environment. I could see some really large trees that were not of this planet, or that I'd never seen before. I didn't look at my body, but I did have eyes and heard music, as if it were a celebration. I saw dead folks, neighbors and relatives in a wooded area. But the oddest and most pleasant sensation was that I felt no pain when I was there, which I'm certain I was. All I felt was something wonderful infiltrating my body, an amazing serenity and love that must be experienced, even though I would never wish anything awful on anyone. Where am I? I wondered. Then, I know I'm here, and I don't want to go back there. I know I've died, and my previous existence means nothing to me. It's a nice feeling that comes over me and covers me. I started to notice some huts. It was a lovely forest. Then I found myself hovering, and I noticed that people were eating. They were all dressed in white with coats or tunics. I'm not sure which, and I spotted Mama in the distance conversing with someone else. Others were asking what I was doing there in the meanwhile. "Did you invite me to the party or not?" I asked. "No, you're not invited," they said. My mother then walked up to me and scolded me, saying, "You're not supposed to be here. It's not your time, and you must leave." "No, I'm happy here," I said to her. And then I felt myself being dragged from behind. Everything became dark, and everyone got puzzled. I'm not sure if it was a vision, but I was still there and noticed a puzzle light up gradually. I had no idea where I was because I'd been at the party, but everything gradually became clear. This all took approximately a minute. I was stunned, not recognizing anything until I realized I was in my room and wondered, how did I get here? Then I saw myself, pale and open-mouthed, laid out on the bed like a corpse. I noticed what was going on after about a minute or two, and I couldn't breathe. Then I felt my breath come back. Strangely, I inhaled air via my mouth and felt a sharp pain in my chest. I stood up and remained in this position for approximately an hour. Nobody can understand it. Some say I died and returned. Others believe I was summoned from beyond, given a second chance and resurrected. I kept it a secret for months because I was concerned people would mock me. But since then, people have noticed things in the house, such as objects moving and sometimes creating signs on the floor. I dream about Mama, and strangely, I see a light coming out of my body when I'm at my most serene. I'm not sure if this is the aura or my soul. I'm not strongly connected to my body for returning, as it was not my time. I feel more at ease and that I'm a better person despite my flaws. I don't want anything horrible to happen to anyone. It concerns me to think that I can see things, have dreams and have premonitions, which I have. This is not what I want to happen. I used to get them occasionally, but now they're more often. I'm not insane. I know it was true. I was there, but there is a deplorable lack of faith these days, and we are few. Those who are privileged to feel, if not see God, who fills me with such love that I know I do not deserve. I appreciate Him for allowing me to be with Him, and for understanding that the body dies and the soul exists in another place and dimension. That I shall return there sooner or later. I will not travel there. Instead, I will return because I've already been there. I want to encourage people to have faith. He still believes we may grow and become better individuals. God bless them always and keep them in light and peace. He keeps an eye on everyone. Goodbye.